I call the meeting to order. I have the minutes for last month's meeting.
I apologize. I thought I typed them, I didn't, and we had like 7 calls today. I just type them.
Okay. I'll make a motion. Let's give a motion on the floor. See if we can get somebody to read them. Skip them this month, and we can read them next month. Okay.
I apologize.
Okay. I'd like to have a moment of silence for Michael Bulgaris, selectman, and he's former president of our fire company. His funeral is this weekend. Was it Friday night?
Thursday, Friday.
Thursday, Friday. Okay. Okay. As the fire chief of the town of Newbury, I would like to retire as the fire chief. I've been in since 1998, and only 1 year that I wasn't fire chief, Chucky Beard decided to make himself. That can happen, I guess, anytime. So I'd like to retire as fire chief and bring up new nominations here to reorganize for the fire chief. Do I have any nominations for fire chief?
I nominate Doug Gamble Jr.
Second. Unfortunately, at this time I'm going to have to decline. I've had calls from both stations, actually, people supporting me, and I really appreciate that. It means a lot that the guys would think that much of me. That means more than actually getting the job, to be honest with you, and all the calls I've got for support. At this time, I've never declined nomination.
Okay, Doug declines. Do I have any other nominations?
I nominate Nate Walker. Second. I'll nominate Wally Zila.
That's a decline.
Okay, we got Nate on the floor. Anybody else? Okay, can I have a, Nate Walker's been nominated and seconded. Can I have a vote on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So Nate Walker will be the new fire chief of the town of Newbury, and what we'll do now is we'll have the clerk send a letter to the selectmen telling them that he's the new fire chief, and they will send a letter over to the town, Leslie. Leslie will send one to the state, and tell them he's the new fire chief. Okay? Congratulations.
Thank you. Good luck on your retirement.
Oh yeah, I will. There you go, buddy.
As a woman, I'd like to thank Chief Pearson for all his many hard years and unselfish years of work. He's been a great chief. And so a lot of what you see now is because of him.
Take pretty pride in that I didn't lose anybody in any house fires. When I was a kid, my father was a fire chief, and he lost several people. He lost 4 in the Livermore house fire. He lost to Johnny Rogers. He lost 4 people in that. Lost 1 in a trailer. Then after my father was burned away, so of course Vern lost the 14th Street fire. The woman died in that. I've got a lot of car accidents. A lot of people, die, but I've never had one die in a house fire since 1998. And I thought that was, you're very nervous when you're the fire chief, and hate to lose anybody. And I've had several close calls in the last 5 years, more so in the previous years. Some people dying in building fires because over here I had it over here to Stevens and a couple other ones. But that's kind of the worst thing you don't want to do if you're a fire chief, lose somebody in a building fire. You always think you could have done something. Car accidents, nothing you can do when you get there, but building fire, years ago, when I was a little kid, on and on. time when Livermore was up here, Livermore house fire, when you see the kids out front with blankets on, and everybody trying to do something terrible. Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Personally, like I told you before,
Yeah.
learned a lot from you, never put me in harm's way.
Hey,
Good
well, I
job.
might be now.
All right, communications? Communications,
All the hydrants are,
how are they doing over here?
they're all shoveled out in my field.
They're still working on them over there. They're scrambling to get guys to finish, get a detail together, and it's, you know, there was some help after the last storm down to Plum Island with the town. Called up James Surratt, and he said, well, if you bring the hydrant list down, we'll help you get down here, because it just got to the point where it was overwhelming for the guys. So they worked with those guys, and they got, you know, a bunch of them cleared out, but then after this last one, we'll kind of start.
I had a question on that.
Yeah.
I saw Salisbury's got the National Guard. Is there any reason why we don't have help with that?
I don't know what level we have to work on to
I
get
mean,
that.
I would think we would need to ask emergency management for assistance for that. I mean, we've got only 4 guys and they're out
Yeah, they're
40 hours straight. And it's unreasonable to expect, I mean, you see other towns like Salisbury and other people have National Guard digging them out. Why don't we have that assistance?
We just need
And
to
why
work
haven't
with
we
our,
asked?
we'll have to work with our emergency management people and see if we can get that resource, and we'll talk to John tomorrow and stuff
Huh?
on
I mean, it's ridiculous.
that.
They should have been contacted.
They should be contacted a week ago.
Talk to Chief Rowland tomorrow morning.
Yeah,
Yeah, we got-
He's our
he's our guy.
The Byfield Water District charges, just like they do down at Newbury, hydrant rental. And we consider that part of the hydrant rental to shovel them out. So they hire back and push them out.
Newburyport, the last storm before, I saw them do a couple of hydrants on Northern Boulevard. That's all I saw them do. This last storm, nothing.
A lot of the problems with the fire hydrants are, Georgetown marks them on telephone poles and stuff, or they have a mark in the street. But once they get over the top of that little marker, you gotta use a metal detector to find the damn thing, so they gotta know what you're personally.
We need manpower.
You're 6 feet high over the top of them.
Yeah, you
We need manpower.
Yeah, so that's,
It's not
Get
fair
over
to
there,
expect the full timers to do that.
we'll work on that.
Too much work.
I got this today.
Guys won't come back to do it.
No.
No, it's too
Guys,
much.
I got
You need hydraulics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to make the call, use our help with those guys.
I'm sure they'll have a day out, so.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Is it for me?
Yeah, the inmates.
Yeah, the
that's
farm
them,
guys or the.
And the National Guard seems to be everywhere in Massachusetts except for here.
You know,
I don't understand
I
why.
thought it was nice, we had the help from our, you know, a little bit of help from the town department, you know,
I
those
thought it was
guys.
a good thing for them
Yeah, it was huge.
to, considering there's only 6 of them and our town looks better than the neighboring towns, so I think they've done a damn good job.
Oh, yeah, they've done really well. That was a hell of a thing that happened down in Plum Island the last few days.
Look at this one. They have a fire across the station, they can find it.
That's what I said to Keith, I mean, it's got to that point where, you know, we have a shovel and all the apparatus, and everyone needs to know this shovel's there, even in that
That's where the
case.
hydrants are.
Yeah. So that's, that it for communications, get the hydrants, talk to Chief Riley on that, to the inmates. Anything else on communications?
Yeah, was it Eileen?
Yes,
Yes, think you all got the email from Eileen?
yes.
What's the purpose of that?
Well, that's part of the unification, correct? She's looking for a very specific, well,
She,
that goes in line with the lease. So,
so she wants the companies to bill every month?
I don't know, I think we probably need to get some clarification on it. I mean, you guys were working on it, but how does, I don't know if the companies need to bill every month.
That's the way I took the email.
It reads that it's a lease and it's a bill from each department for the amount that we have a monthly stipend.
I mean, that's kind of, they're leaning in that direction, and that's how they want the direction of the lease to work, is that they're leasing our services, so theoretically, they need the companies to somewhat submit the bill for the services, you know, that the town desires, but in a sense, I think that's premature until we can figure out what's going on with this lease agreement, you know? So, we might have to let's see. I'll do that
I had the
again.
form right here.
It's just I think it's just to apply the monthly stipend against.
I don't know, we send them a voucher for that every month anyway.
That's what that is, all right?
Yeah, it's basically the same thing.
So these are the
Which one's
equipment and the
attached to
building.
the one we send it now? I don't know why.
I'm attaching templates for you to use the next monthly billing change.
It says for equipment and facility.
What's your lease?
That's the thing, building and equipment and fire company a month, yeah, so they're looking. So for now, I don't know, do we just do that just so that they can keep paying, you know, even though we haven't started the lease yet, or how do we wanna go about, you know?
I mean, I don't see anything wrong by signing that. It doesn't give them any ownership, it's a lease.
Well, we haven't, you know, I don't think we
We don't have a lease
officially,
yet.
yeah, we don't have to sign the lease yet.
But that's applying the monthly stipend for them.
I don't know if we could just start to follow what they're looking for to submit money, that, you know, that's the question, do we go with their new format now? Maybe we clarify with them, do we start with this now, or do we get the lease tied up first and then we go to this
I
direction?
mean, that doesn't stipulate what the lease is.
It
It
doesn't.
just simply states for equipment and building.
You know, and if this is gonna have anything to do with getting paid or not getting paid,
I mean, I think that's,
Simple.
personally, I think that's what it's gonna come down to, so.
well, this is what it's gonna look like.
Does it differ over how you get paid now?
No,
So it doesn't change anything, other than it submits one form for what you're doing?
I'm
It's
showing
also-
attached to the other form,
Okay, all right.
you know, that's what we're doing anyway,
which
and all
I
that is,
always submit
right.
from before, so, for both companies.
Do we have a problem just, you know, submitting this to each company with the other forms that we're dealing with? You know, with what they've asked for, the breakdown every month of payroll that you guys are doing? What do you think?
When do they want us to start?
That's the question.
Well, that's for this month, right?
You know, as it stands now, it's, you know, when the bell rings, we've never signed any kind of lease.
You know, right now it's just a verbal lease, that, you know, they, you know, get us and the equipment. you
So
know.
what is, I think we need to, define what this lease means to them and what it means to us,
Well,
because it's obviously two different things.
I mean, right now we have a verbal
If you wanna,
somewhat
would
lease.
help to see the invoice like when every month, would you say that too? That-
I mean, I know you gotta put an invoice in no matter what, but it's just the way it is.
Yeah, I know, yeah, I know, yeah.
Like, we're not under a lease right now, other than our agreement when the, you know, when the bell
Yeah.
rings.
Let me show you this overall, show you what we're actually doing now.
I mean, I personally think, whatever, you know, we have a verbal lease, this is what they want to see, you know.
That doesn't stipulate any terms. I mean, that's really,
Basically, I
like a
don't know.
bill almost.
Yeah.
I mean, I
I
know
personally didn't feel threatened when I saw it.
Wally doesn't like the verbiage of the word lease, he likes, say, what is it, services,
Emergency services.
emergency services, which maybe we can get that tweaked and that whole thing, but.
Modify it for now with the language that you like, and then once the lease gets signed, then you have a lease, and then this thing is true to its statement.
Yeah,
Because they even said that, subject to your change.
so maybe we tweak that for emergency services, we take the word lease out of there until we figure the lease thing out.
Well, we change it to read monthly flat rate.
That's what it is.
Alright, then, you want to either say monthly flat rate, or, emergency services, monthly flat rate, I like. So, want me to visit her and see, and clarify that?
I mean, I think the email just said, subject to changes, so just make a
Yeah,
change.
she's
and
not,
send it
she
back.
can change.
Why don't we just change it to monthly flat
Send it
rate,
back.
whole lease out of there, put monthly flat rate on it, and
Send it back.
submit it to them?
Keep it easy.
Do we have a problem with that, or do we need to talk?
We
See
need
what they
to-
say?
We need to get the proper names at the top of the forms.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
Because we're Protection Fire Company number 2, Newbury Fire.
Right.
They're Protection Fire Company number 1, Byfield Fire.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, can I have one of those, Doug? I wanna make all the changes on there.
I marked this one up a little at the heading, if you want to pass it on to the chief.
Oh, good.
I'm seeing this one. Which we put in now. I just want to just attach to that and understand.
So we'll do the same thing, each one of these will read the same. Protection Fire Company number 1, Protection Fire Company number 2, and monthly lease building equipment of fire company for the month. We'll read monthly.
Monthly stipend.
Monthly flat rate, monthly stipend.
Monthly stipend.
Alright. I'll just, you know, have a visit and say this is what it's gonna look like coming through for now until we can clarify what this lease thing's all about. And then we can just follow with what she's looking to do. Hopefully with what's going on here, you guys will maintain your services in the way that you deal with this. And one of the things that I would like to try to move forward, even though this isn't a new business thing, is that, you know, you guys have been running a tight ship with the payroll and the way it works. You know, that you receive some sort of compensation for that, i.e. a stipend or something. Just, it's a lot of work we know you guys are doing. However you want to deal with it, we can discuss that moving forward. All right, so what else do we have on the budget? You guys met with her, how did that go? Where are we at with that?
We had gone over what we had discussed at our last engineers meeting, the format, and one of the things that we did was when the Newbury side put their numbers together, we figured a certain amount of overtime per the 3 people a month. I think we figured 2 shifts of overtime per month for Curtis, Keith, and Robert. And to be consistent, Deputy Janvrin came back and refigured his numbers for, over here to reflect that same amount of overtime, which brought the numbers up. I don't have the numbers off my top of my head, but we came up with a new number and we submitted to them in a budget request. One of the things that they asked is we had, I guess I had put the 60,000 that we had earmarked for stipends in under the fire protection wage account. They asked us to move that out, which we did. We discussed how we were proposing to fund the additional money, taking money out of the call wages and requested they transfer it to the fire protection wages, taking money out of the call wages and transferring it to the training account. We figured in the 23,000 that they promised us for this fiscal year coming up. So the overall increase to that budget wasn't an ungodly amount of money. If you compare the end number of the FY16 request versus the FY15 actual net budget line item, there's a big difference, but once you start moving the stuff around, I wish I brought the papers, but the net increase wasn't as big as it looks, because we cut back on the call wages considerably. We probably took maybe, what, 40,000 out of call wages and moved it around.
It made sense to them when they saw that, what was going on.
Yeah, we sent it to them, we gave them a narrative to go with each move, explaining how we came up with that number and why. There were discussions on if they thought we were artificially lowballing the call wages going forward. And we had some discussion, and we had some numbers of reporting that we did that actually, if you pull the shift coverages out of the call wage account, it was about the right ballpark number of where we were last year. And, you know, obviously before the storms, it was on target for where we were gonna be this year.
So how, and I think to bring it up on a new business, but how much of this stuff are we gonna be able to write into state of emergency stuff, or how much of it is gonna be reflected on that?
Well, we, chime in if you'd like, Deputy. What we did is the first storm was it the Juno blizzard or whatever they called it.
Yeah.
Chief Riley asked for documentation on the hours for that storm, which we supplied. There's been no other request to my knowledge for.
Okay, so that's the only one right now we're looking at, would be a state of emergency. All right, so that budget will be larger than we expected.
Yeah, I don't, unless we get a bunch of more calls and, long standbys, I don't think we're gonna go over that account.
No. Okay.
Probably because we had so much in there from the weekends that we were doing.
What if we look at that like we had the potential to see this kind of winter the next 3 years, like they're saying, and we move this money? Is that gonna make
Well, what they explained to us, and we talked again at that meeting, the call wage account is like the snow account. As long as you request funding for a reasonable amount, which we can justify that the amount that we're requesting is a reasonable amount, if you go over, you go over. she said that those are the only two accounts that can be overspent. The call wage account and the snow removal account.
Makes sense, yep.
I think what they really wanted was numbers based on realistic calls, not as much disasters and hurricanes and all that, which we did for the last, 2 years. Pull out numbers for just regular calls, and we even add a little bit to it, so we didn't lowball it, and we would, regular everyday business, that's what it cost us.
So when do we know about that?
So by the finance committee and
What-
the selectmen and everything, so,
So we have some time?
nice one.
Yeah. Another thing that was discussed was,
Tracy's been messing around with numbers, see what she can.
Get back to you guys.
one of the things that came up in the discussion were the stipends. What they had requested that if we were to do some sort of stipend for the officers, excuse me, what they would like is a job description in order to justify the stipend, instead of just cutting somebody a check, they wanna know what they're paying for.
Do we have anything on record right now that basically, on the Board of Fire Engineers level, breaks down captains, deputies, and chief?
Oh, that worked.
Nope.
Okay. So I think we need to do that.
I second that, I think that's important, and I think it's important for the guys down below too, to see that there's some sort of qualification, something that they can shoot for, something that they know when they get to a certain level that they have a chance of advancing. I think it's real important to those guys.
Can we put together some, some input on that, some people have, maybe we'll revisit it again, for the next meeting, I'll work on that too, you know.
I'll
Let's
do
put some,
some of that. I had some of it prepared for tonight. I got 2 documents here and another one here that is an 80-page one I've been trying to go through today, but I'll start some of that. I'll get some of that together.
I'd really like to see that, because I
I'll
would
get some
like,
generic documents, we can pass them out, you can redline them, do whatever you want to them, and then we'll come back together and put everybody's back together, see what we came up with.
I think this morning, it wasn't, you know, I got playing hardball, it was just, if you're gonna pay a captain less than a deputy chief or whatever, I don't know, what more responsibility do you have
Absolutely.
to get that money, which is, it's reasonable, and that's fine.
Yep.
and I think going in that direction, we need, the Board of Fire Engineers, need to be compensated for their jobs, you know.
But Doug, I'm not sure the source of those documents and what they are, but just keep in mind that the duties and responsibilities of a lieutenant, captain, deputy, and chief in a career department are gonna vary, differentiate drastically.
I specifically picked this document out because it is so, it's for cities and towns that are a little bit larger than us, but it is so on to where we are as far as that combination between the career guys, the volunteer guys, how they mix, what the problems are between them. They've identified a lot of that.
Oh, that's
So,
great.
That's great, that's awesome, that's something that we need to, that's something that needs to happen.
Another thing that we had chatted about briefly was the VFIS insurance runs out this year, and that's gonna have to be rebid.
When they rebid, so they go through their insurance, and then we present this VFIS to them.
I would think that they would go out and they would go to all the qualified carriers, and they would bid it.
Do they bid, did they, because I know you fought to keep VFIS, do they
Nope,
include
I
that?
had we had the policy,
Okay.
it was a good policy, and the last time we did it, we gave it to Tracy
Hmm,
to give to Maya. And Maya gave it back
said it was good,
and said, when we went for the 3-year policy,
yeah.
and said that they couldn't match it, and it was fine. But I mean, there was other things that we were complaining about was the, we had it, remember we had it, for the first 3 weeks, it was $600, remember you was on that once, and then it went to $900 for 5 years. And everybody didn't think that was enough, but there's a few things you could deal with.
No, we did try to keep it, but also we did rebid it.
We tried.
That's where it came out.
Remember that other guy, they wouldn't even look at it.
Yeah, we didn't look at it.
Or that,
All right, so they're gonna,
They do that.
they do that.
Yeah.
Hopefully they
So
stay
obviously,
with that.
we'd wanna offer input.
Yes.
Yep.
Because it's, that's been a good policy for us.
That's what we're good.
We would wanna know whatever policy they're thinking about, if they're having an idea or something different, so that we are up
I
to
hope
speed.
so, yeah.
Yeah,
I think we'd like to at least have a crack at evaluating them.
yeah, I think we should. Did you, when you spoke out there, did you mention that?
We, really didn't get into it in any depth because it was just one of the many conversations that came up. Another thing is, capital improvement planning. The ideas of what we think we need going forward, long range. One of the items that, the deputy brought up was fire alarm system, radio boxes. The red lines are getting, the red wire is getting more and more expensive to maintain. Just the price of copper and stuff. So, and again, deputy, if I'm wrong, please chime in. That, they wanted suggestions on, what we look for capital improvement going forward. Fire alarm radio boxes, the redundant systems, a redundant system here, our station and the dispatch. Just so it would facilitate any one of the three locations being able to receive any of the master boxes in town.
I think that's a great idea.
Account transfers. Money cannot be transferred between accounts in this fiscal year before May 1st. At May 1st, we can sit and evaluate where we are and feel if we've got money to move around. We can put in a request to the, I believe it's the selectmen or is it the finance committee of both?
The finance committee, I believe.
Yeah. And if we think we're gonna have excess in the call wages, see if we can move it into the fire protection wage account. Then maybe we can pick our staffing up again on the weekends a little bit for the rest of the year. But that won't be till May 1st.
Okay.
So that's a 2-month window. I think that was pretty much it.
So just touching base on the capital improvement thing, that was one of the things you guys brought up was fire alarm.
Yep.
I really think that that's something all of us need to sit and think about, putting together, a priority, capital improvements based on priority, that being probably one of the first things, that each and all of us could receive master boxes, so, essentially, as we move towards what we're trying to be, this, one town fire department, at any point, we know what you guys got, other than on a page, or it's coming right in the fire station, that's a great thing. But in your business and in mine at Old Newbury, they, every 2 or 3 years, they have me redo my capital list of what's the order of importance. I think we really need a good capital plan, together, combine both sides, come together on this, get input from the companies, and come up with what we want moving forward, what we need, that with the, our aging fleet, where our apparatus is at, the whole bit, all the way down the line. And that's something I think we can, utilize our, this is something where the company presidents come in, the companies can help work with what they have, equipment that they own, present it to us, because, their input on this is very important. It gets them, in the loop on things, and then we can make some decisions based on, looking at it, what we feel is, a priority, work with them a little bit, but they've been asking for that for quite some time, so I think that's one of the things moving forward we really need to work on too,
Well, that was one other thing too. Small capital request less than $10,000, doesn't need to go before the floor of the finance committee. So we had discussed about maybe putting in for some meters or something.
So, how do we go about doing that?
I think we were gonna get pricing and submit it with our budget request.
And we decided what, 2 meters aside? We're gonna go for that?
For real, absolutely.
Awesome. Alright, so we're gonna go with the gas meters for this year, right? 2 aside. And come with the best prices there. When do we wanna have that somewhat figured out by?
Last week.
Pretty much, right? We gotta have that going, right?
Have some prices.
What was that one we have? How much was that? Do you remember offhand?
What, do you like the one you have?
I do,
Oh, it's nice.
Yes.
I don't know the name of it, but
Maybe we should
can
check
show
it
it to you after.
After the meeting, maybe we should check it out and see if it's something we all like to put our hands on, and maybe if you guys are familiar with it. Wally, do you have input on that, Tim?
I've always had good luck with the NSAs.
That's what we've had for years.
4 gas meters.
What are you guys on as an MSA?
Yep.
Cool,
Size big.
nice. Alright, let's look at that, we'll have a field trip afterwards. Budget, so that's capital stuff we discussed. We'll put something together with the gas meters. What do you think, you know, I guess that's hard to ask right now. Any more on the budget? Alright. Training.
We've been kind of out of this winter's really put a hurt on our training. I don't even know where it is,
That's your baby,
No,
T, your
if
training.
we came down the station last time, or we were up this end. But I would like to just do some air packs and some gear.
I mean, it's so, yeah.
It's cold for one thing,
Yep.
and two, it's, I like those. You
Alright,
can do that every day.
Snow extrication, that's all you can do outside somewhere.
I know there's some struggle.
Yeah, something.
There's struggle with air packs, so it's,
you know,
rusty, you know how it is.
you can always do a long leg out, you can, you
Yeah,
know, go over the
I gotta
weekly-
fit until we can fill holes up there.
You know, you can always go over that weekly in service thing, go over familiarization of pact, you know.
You know, we did a lot in the past, just like low profile stuff into the trucks.
Yep,
Donning,
yep, on and off,
go, different scenarios.
yep,
We got softlesses, we got,
you know.
we got a dummy.
Go right back to the basic of, put the gear right in front of each guy, have him put it on, see what time frame is,
Do the
guys can look
breakdown,
around.
start,
Start from scratch. Alright,
breathe down bottom, something like that,
okay,
so.
alright, so we'll do,
And then in the spring, when it warms up, I think we should concentrate on the flow of water, like really concentrate on it, get really in depth in it
yeah,
for a while, for a few months.
flow of water with the, you know, every apparatus, both sides of town.
This side, we got a bunch of younger guys that are just grasping the pumping and stuff, so. And these guys need, and they've requested to me, they need hands-on, we need a flow of water. Not like, get the whole company on the pump,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Two,
Like-
3 guys, and, whether we lay a small line, find 2 hydrants close together, something like that.
love to go to that scenario where you have the truck parked right in front of the
Right.
hydrant, and you're like, alright, here you go, 2 guys, rest this,
We got some,
water in
we got a
this
couple good
truck.
spots here, but on this side, they're really close.
You could run a couple trucks and do some evolutions.
Wayside Ave, we worked on there a little bit.
I need to do that, that's one thing that you just can't.
Maybe set up one truck, just do a mock, even right out of the station.
Yep,
Right
yeah,
from putting the gear on
Yeah.
to hooking that assist valve up into the next truck, figure the next truck dumping their water, you're gonna have to,
I think it's a good
Put it
idea.
real-
And I think we gotta include these ladder trucks that pump too.
yeah,
This
they're
whole
under
thing.
exercise, that's for sure. We got the equipment. That's the only way these young guys, and I shouldn't say young, but newer guys are gonna learn how to flow water if they can do it. We can talk about it, and
We could all practice that, it's
Yeah,
one of those
all
things that
practice.
just sucks.
Yeah.
No question.
that's probably the most difficult part of the whole
Thing.
job.
It really is. We can have Bishop help us out.
Some fish up shows up.
Yeah. Alright,
Because just think about this, we've had, 2 incidences with, granted they were shed fires, but we've had 2 incidents with a little bit of mix up on water.
yeah.
And those are just small fires.
So we're
Obviously, that's not gonna happen now until we get rid of the snow.
Yep, we had a few months of snowy weather.
Yeah. I mean, not saying we
Voters to
won't.
show up.
Yeah.
So, let's do some let's do some SCBA, and then let's morph the SCBA into possibly some touch and base on, some of the saving ourselves stuff right into like a quick, an evolution into RIT. So guys are all familiar with the RIT pack. So if we go for RIT, guys know, okay, Stokes, basket, whatever tools we need, this is what a RIT team does. So that we could, because theoretically, we were on the card for RIT, for Raleigh, we were, or we are, or
I think you are.
yeah, we are.
Yeah.
I think, so so let's have evolve from straight packs right into RIT, in the next couple of trainings. And then as soon as we're done with that, guys should be good with packs, we'll maybe go right into, pumping trucks.
We can get, these guys that are good with pumping,
Yep.
get them involved.
Go from pumping trucks to, to ladders, you know, go through everything, just check, whatever, you know.
Yeah, it's on, so
Yep.
so,
So that's training, so we'll post up, talk to the guys, we'll post that up.
Yeah, I can track these down the line.
Alright, you get it.
where are we going, here, there, yeah, where?
Where are you guys
I think
at?
last time we came down here and.
Yeah, you with us.
So, well,
Yeah.
Come up here.
Gonna do it this month?
Yeah. Where are we?
sure,
Yeah, where are we at?
be next
People
month.
straight out the past week, though. That's-
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be cognizant of.
Yeah, but in the same sense, we can be straight out and, still have a house fire.
Yeah, let's just go with it, you know,
You know?
one day. And, you know, I mean, guys are straight out, they're straight out, and then probably these first few until we get going are gonna be, you know, tough on the,
That's right. You
You
know,
know,
I
people-
understand everyone's beat in the winter,
Yeah.
but it still doesn't mean we can't have a bad event.
okay, true. Okay, training, so we got something put together and some thoughts for the future.
What is the date next Monday?
23rd?
Yeah.
All right, old business.
I'm doing the over.
Ready up in there for old
6:30 work?
6:30?
Sure.
Yeah. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to skip out of that. Anybody else have anything on training? 6:30, the 23rd, 6:30 here. Touch a few things on old business, alright, and I touched on the effective communication essential by the board. We need a listing of our replacement needs. We need a 10-year asset replacement schedule. You know, I'd like to work on that, but I'd like, you know, this is something, you know, I'd like to move into this position slowly. I definitely do not want to step on anyone's toes. I'd like to work with the deputies, you know, everybody, all the way down the line with this. I really think we need to, you know, put this together with the town as, you know, as we move forward with the ambulances, we realize that, you know, the money's not coming in like it used to. I mean, Newbury's felt this pain, and the town has been there to supply, you know, to get us a pump. So, you know, like we talked about before, you know, maybe it's you guys next time, you know. So we just, you know, let's get something together, you know, 10 years, where we stand with our apparatus, and get this to the town so they know. We've got some really positive people in there that, you know, are willing to help us out, and, you know, Finance Committee, Bob Connors, very proactive people that, you know, they'll help us. So let's let them know what we need, you know. Well, old business, we had this lease, so what do we have to say about this lease agreement?
You know, we had an agreement originally with the town that's different from the lease. Did anybody ever pull up what we originally had?
I don't know if there's anything ever in writing.
We had something in writing, I don't know if it was ever ratified. Remember, it was like,
Curtis gave me something on basically our agreement with the ambulance.
it was more for the, no, it was when we went to, you know, we started with the whole board of fire engineers. We had something, I mean, I can pull it up. I think either I or Al McDonald have that. And it was not as aggressive as theirs is, it was just the way it is. And I thought we had that accepted by the town back then.
That's one thing that Wally was saying, when I talked to him about it, it's like, why can't we just take what we do now?
That's basically what it was when we first started. I mean, I don't think it ever went anywhere, but we had that.
Unless you've got a signature on it.
It was not, no, it was, I don't believe it was ever ratified, but that was basically doing business as we do, and it was not, it didn't feel as offensive as the most recent.
Their current proposal is so far to the left, it's,
But they're waiting for an answer back, so I'll pull up what we had and I'll give it to you.
What was the answer when you went back in with your proposed changes? Were they received well or not?
Wait,
No, we
Oh, you haven't? Oh, okay. I thought you'd been back in. I thought that Patrick had been back in and
Pat's
had
been
talked
in-
about some of the changes we talked about at the last meeting.
Pat's talked to her on several different issues, mostly protection 2 issues. But one of the things he said he did touch on with her is referring to it as an agreement for emergency services, not a lease.
How was that received?
He really didn't say.
Okay.
And if he did that, I really,
Okay, fair enough.
I don't wanna put words in his mouth.
Fair enough.
Tim, see if you can dig that out.
Yeah, I actually, I printed, I'm sorry I didn't bring it, I printed it out after the last meeting, I don't know, I
So-
definitely have.
Now, this is where this gets funny. How do we deal with knowing what we know as being Board of Fire Engineers, knowing what we need to do with this lease, and bridging this gap within the companies? Because it really has to be done on that company level and then come through us to them. How do we do this?
Does it, or are we taken totally out of the picture? As the Board of Fire Engineers?
We're theoretically taken out, completely out of the picture, but we have to, it's been presented to us and not so much the companies. So we have to act basically as a liaison to the company.
I think we were copied on those emails. We weren't, you know, I almost wanna say, you know, I go back and read it, but I wanna say we were carbon copied. We weren't on the two line. You know, the two line was, you know, the president and the treasurer were both companies.
So Pat's been over there. Have you been over there, Doug?
Just with Wally.
So-
I was spoken with her in passing, but the thing where the Board of Fire Engineers will be, involved, is that when I asked Tracy, who's in charge of the stations from day to day? Just curious, you know, who, the selectmen, or who are you, or, you know, the Sam, or who it would be?
Yeah.
And she said the Board of Fire Engineers.
Yeah.
So we're gonna, it's gonna be in our lap, and then what will we do, so we have to be involved, I
But as
think.
far
The
as
companies basically own and maintain
But the company-
the buildings.
yeah.
That's their responsibility of the building.
That's why I thought the companies should get together, and I told
Yes.
Tracy, I had her attorney to look at it, and she was in agreement with that, she said you should, you know, so, we just haven't done that yet.
And Nate, I understand what you're struggling with. It's tough to sit here and represent the town and also be a part of the company.
It is.
I get it.
But I mean, most of us that are here, you know, really lead the company too, as well as the town. We wanna try to make sure it's done.
we wanna
well.
do what's right for all parties involved.
Yeah.
I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the game, I think it's in the company's hands now, as far as hiring attorneys and drafting a document that we can do that.
So, for them.
We did discuss at the last meeting of potentially getting both companies together, so that way they would go
I think we
together.
should, but-
I mean, and one attorney, I don't care who it is, but that way it's not, I mean, otherwise you're never gonna put this.
How do we go about influencing that connection?
We're gonna have to have a Google meeting of some sort.
You think it's worth setting up on one of these training nights where people are somewhat already mentally ready for a commitment of a night of activities, and, I mean, it's
There'll
definitely
be
a
a 15,
priority.
20-minute sit down before we start training.
Something, you know, but,
Post it out so everybody can see.
yeah, and
Do we
give,
go as
give the
quickly?
companies
Does
an
that make
opportunity
sense?
to.
Do we do that? We do that right off, or?
We have to do it.
I don't know if you're gonna combine it with the training, because you might get two different subsets of people if you
think
have two companies.
Maybe we just hold a meeting
Yeah, yeah,
with both companies combined.
yeah.
You just see the station, send out the email, you know, a good solid week in advance. I know everyone's busy and crazy, but
Or do we wanna get the companies together, or would it be better off getting the Board of Directors?
That's what we talked about
I
last
thought we had
time.
spoken with them before.
Just hasn't happened, because I think the larger your group, the less you're gonna get accomplished initially.
Yeah,
but then you're gonna have the people saying, well, I'm part of the company, why ain't I? Why isn't my opinion
I mean,
valued?
it's
on
almost
that?
not a bad idea to get everybody in there first.
Yeah, I was,
Get all the ideas, you know, get the piece of paper out, everybody yell what they want, write everything down, and then give it to the board of directors and say, this is what your company wants.
You know, a request was
Dissect
sent
this.
to, you know, a request was sent to the president of Rowley, BFA, to provide a copy of their agreement. I don't think it's shown up yet, so we might have to try a different avenue.
Is that just talking to Chief Broderick, or?
It went to Mark Emery as the president of the VFA. Maybe Chief Broderick might be able to produce one.
Alright, so we're leaving that as, that it's still ambiguous to, as, you know, the company realize how important this is. See, when we go in, I don't know, and talk with the company, all of a sudden in the kitchen, in the coffee time, and you know, it becomes adversarial, what's the town gonna do, how are we gonna do this? You try to explain, hey, this is, you know, we can make this a lot easier, we just gotta get this under control. I think we have to set some time, they need to understand how, the time frame, you know, that this is very important, you know, that we need to get going on this. How can we influence that part, you know, to say, okay, you know, companies, it's time, you know, within a month, we need to have you guys have this put together, you know, this one's way over here to the right, go way over to the left. Take, you know, Tim, take your thing, give it to, make sure you give it to Pat, get a copy of it, we'll get it to Doug. Let the two companies ruminate on something that's completely old school and different, And, you know, present that to the town, and then this is part of the negotiation process, at least they have something on their end, okay, this is what they kind of originally agreed to. You know, maybe they say that's fine, you know,
And that's, I think that's what they're looking for, I mean.
That's
that-
exactly what
yeah.
they're looking for.
right? So I don't think it
Yeah.
needs to be this thing that they gave us, you know?
No, they.
That was only to get conversation, initiate conversation, that's all, just
And that was
talking.
for all community, I think, that wasn't etched in stone at all.
No, not at all.
No.
So do you think we should set a meeting,
Yes,
put out an email, the importance of this,
yes,
for all company members, both sides to attend? I know I don't
Yep.
know, you know how meetings go, sometimes there's a bunch of people, sometimes it's just a handful.
you know, we're,
Flip a coin where it's gonna.
when do you guys have your company meetings, what?
Just like-
Second Monday.
Flip a
That's the
coin.
first Monday, and then we're the third Monday, and then we change the fourth, so, you know,
Maybe we should sacrifice that next month for, I mean, if we can go that far.
That's why I didn't know if it was worth do it, you know, it'll be, not drain on tax this month, but.
I mean, if you think we can pull everyone together in a week.
in a week might be tight.
But people usually are thinking that Monday, or I would hope usually people are thinking that Monday anyways is set aside for training.
Good point, they're committed to.
Yeah,
Hope they were committed to
exactly,
that.
they've already got somewhat penciled in on that night that it's fire department related night.
You want us, you know,
When is this like gonna be, okay, now this is due,
by the next budget,
so July?
yeah.
So we do have a few,
No, I guess it's doable for that, I think, but, as of July first, is my understanding that without an agreement in place,
Right,
we're
okay.
okay.
Right.
Yeah, but it's gonna be done.
I mean, can we put this dual meeting off till the next month's combined training and make it for that?
Yeah, that would
Need to
give
be the
people
fourth
money.
Monday of,
The
March,
16th,
right?
And
or
before
the
that,
23rd of March.
and before
Is
that
is
time,
that too
whatever.
long of a
Well, I was
period
gonna
of
say, that's
time?
only gonna
Get both
give us
documents
3
both
months
sides
before we
and
have
then
to have
start
something
working
done.
on it.
Board
It
records.
goes by so quick.
Fast.
See, that actually,
Especially getting into spring.
that's a good
You're
point.
gonna have
Tim
Facebook,
can,
you might
you know,
have
get
to
his
take a
information,
review,
already can get
yeah.
that, maybe the two go into the
The boards
record.
can meet on their own
You gotta
and
think,
try to
if we have to
prep.
get a lawyer, that's gonna take a little time.
Yeah,
It's gonna take him time to hear everything that the directors have to say.
Yep,
Then he's gonna have to write something up, then, he or she.
In that original email, didn't they want a proposal back by the 27th of this month?
I think they wanted something back,
Yeah.
comments at the very least.
let's set
Push
it
it
for,
off a whole nother month would be.
But that's coming up, so we're gonna
Yeah.
look at it.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what they're asking.
Well, we can go and talk to them, say that it's in the process.
Yeah, I think those are moving forward.
And that we're moving forward, and the 23rd, you know, we're setting a meeting where we're really gonna grind it out with the companies and have something to you. We're hoping to have something to you by, you know, in April.
It's either that.
Give them a
we
time
s-
frame.
We set a meeting on a day we pick, and
Yep.
whoever shows, and who don't, don't.
I mean, this is something that should be hyped up, you know, and everyone should be there for this. This is a huge thing for the, you know, for the fire department moving forward, and we need to, you know, it needs to be done so that people are kosher with this, because this is something that we're gonna have to live with for quite a long time. All right, so, thought process, March 23rd was a thought? Is that too late?
My vote's on the drain tonight. The only reason I say that is just because you can say, you know, there's so many people here, go, I got this going on, I got that going on, and you can say, well, I mean,
That's a
we
training,
trained that night, cause that's typically a training night.
that's the training night of March. Do you wanna put it to that? It's a
Yeah.
little warm, we'll be out of, hopefully this
You're
weather
talking about
thing.
this
I'm
next
talking
month.
about next week.
Oh, next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just in discussion time, and just throwing it out there, so some of these changes we're talking, I mean, wouldn't they require votes on both sides? I mean, I'm just knowing
Oh,
how
yeah.
about two sides.
Yeah,
I mean, you're
Oh,
talking about something that, I mean,
yeah,
I don't think you wanna wait that long. I'm not trying to push it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's go with
I'd say
this.
next week.
I would
Let's
push
go
it
with-
to next week, and then the companies can go back, they can talk to their directors.
I mean, just to change what we need to do on our side, I mean, we've got votes and majority votes and, you know, have to have notices.
All that stuff,
I mean,
Okay,
yeah.
let's go with next week. We'll forego the training. Make sure the companies put out emails to all your members, post it everywhere.
Yeah,
And maybe even like, you know, put it on the page of that morning, you know, that morning or something, you know. Where do we wanna have it?
flip a coin.
I don't know.
You know, you-
Seriously, flip a coin?
We're gonna get enough room.
You got a
Better
place.
hall.
Yep, let's have it over our side,
Next Monday night.
next Monday night.
Anyway,
What's the best for people, 7 usually?
I go 7, I would go 2,
Yeah.
because I think I'll work late.
Yep.
It could be a late meeting.
All right, so
I mean,
7
it'd be pretty
o'clock,
cut and dry, really.
Yeah,
we're just gonna take whatever information we have at that point we put together. and kind of say, hey, companies, you know, as Board of Fire Engineers, I think we just need to sit and say, hey, this is what we've been dealt. This is what you gotta do, and we all gotta do this together, because that's what they need.
How's this work for you?
Yeah, this is what you're getting dealt tonight.
Right,
This
so
is what we gotta deal
We're
with.
gonna make this thing work, and we have a time frame to do it, because we need money, and we wanna keep these fire departments going.
I mean, we're looking at this as, you know, the one and only meeting, this is a thing, you know, it's a starting point,
Yeah,
to stimulate discussion.
Yeah, because everything else that's gonna happen afterwards could take time.
Long
Yeah.
time.
yeah.
That way it's all, so.
And months
Hey,
go
can
by.
I ask a
it
question
is-
for seek clarification from the floor? I'm not sure how these meetings work, sorry.
Fine.
Okay, thank you. As a company, we voted to agree to get an attorney, so is the idea here to have a meeting to get what the companies want the attorney to ask for or negotiate for out of this, or it sounds like the discussion is essentially cutting the attorney out of the process here?
No.
Absolutely.
So I just wanna
No.
be clear on what you're actually doing here.
No, it would be to say, okay, this is, you know, and you're hearing it now, you know, so this is what the town wants, and this is the lease agreement that you've seen. We have a time frame that we need to have this thing buttoned up. You know, both sides, let's sit and talk about what we're looking at, and some of the verbiage that's in this original lease that we don't wanna see.
Okay.
And literally, like, we could get a big flipboard and take this lease right from stage one and write it like the way we want it, then take that and say, all right, to the board of directors, take this to the lawyer and make this work for the companies.
I just wanna make sure we're not cutting out the
No,
lawyers.
no,
We're not-
That
we're
would
not
be a
submitting
big
anything to the
mistake.
town yet, right?
No, I understand.
So I think the step for the attorney would be, you're gonna determine what you want, you're
Yep.
gonna determine what might be good for your
Okay.
company, talk to the
So-
town about it, when you think you're to an agreement, then you have your attorney review it, and you know, when you're getting a little closer.
One of the discussions at our last meeting was, rather than have both departments work independently, which will
Yeah, we agreed to get an attorney
Well,
together.
we'll try to
I
get
understood
one
that.
attorney to get both departments to try to get a consensus. And this
So-
would be a consensus, I mean,
Yeah.
just to try.
So if the meeting that's being proposed for next week is to kind of go through the verbiage in there, is there any possibility of getting that ahead of next Monday, so we can review it?
So we have nothing except what the town's given us in a document that we had from like 5 years ago, which was much more benign, which basically, I mean, the one I remember reading just kind of said, this is how we act and how we work.
I'm talking about the one the town has proposed. If we're being asked to review that and give feedback on that and say, we don't like this or we do like this, can we have that before Monday or make it available in the stations so we can come in and review it at least?
Before this Monday?
Before Monday, if we're gonna be asked to review it on, or to go through it on Monday.
Yeah, I would say, you know, it wouldn't be a bad idea to put out to people, bring all your ideas.
Yeah.
Bring
No,
them to the
I
table.
think what he's asking, when the notification goes out to these guys, email or whatever, can you attach the town's,
Oh, yeah.
lease
Proposal.
You haven't seen
proposal?
that yet?
No,
That's what, that's what.
Oh,
that's
or
what
at
he
least
wants.
have it here in the station, we can come in and review it.
No, sit down.
Yeah.
Alright.
No.
Thank you.
Can we do that? Send that
Sure.
out to Pete?
And just to clarify, meeting was, not to correct you, but we did vote to collaborate with Correction Two and hire an attorney, it wasn't just on our own.
Right.
Exactly.
That was
Sorry,
actually-
yeah, sorry,
No,
not
no,
being clear, I knew
no.
that, yeah.
We're gonna,
Can you send the links out to you guys and make one available in the station?
Alright, thank you.
Because then you got something, you make tons of notes on it, bring it in.
yeah, we should see it.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, that shouldn't be something you're seeing blind. Okay, so can we talk to companies, I guess, since you bring training forward, Justin, can you bring that information forward to Keith and Kurt,
Yeah, yeah, talk to them in the morning,
post something up, email?
and then email it after, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so training turned into lease,
That's what we, you know.
and so that's where, that was the old business, so lease, and then the other thing that I have under old business is ambulance. How are we going to, what are our thought process on how, okay, you know, we've had some discussion on this. We know that the ambulance, my feeling on the ambulance is that it's absolutely vital to the fire departments to continue to have these ambulances the way they are. Not only for the money that it brings into the fire departments, but for the ability to keep guys active, you know, camaraderie, training, the whole thing, gamut across the board. What we have in the past, you know, with Bill, you know, we gave them what these ambulances actually do for the companies. You know, the money that we use for these ambulances and how this translates into saving them all kinds of money. So moving forward, do we take and kind of redo this again? And say, okay, these ambulances make us, 50 grand a year, say. We use this money to pay for, electric heat, we use it to pay for diesel fuel for the trucks, we use it for, our insurance, basically show them how we use this ambulance money, that every bit of this money basically goes back into not only keeping the ambulance running, but the fire department's running, and in turn, how that saves the town overhead. So, I think if we did something like that, my thought process would be much easier for them to say, once they see the value of the ambulance, as well as I think we might have to pull from other towns that are trying to get ambulances in, i.e. Salisbury and the other towns, to see how these ambulances make money. Georgetown went and got an ambulance to make money for their fire department. Show how the ambulance makes money for the fire department. And if and my thought process is this, if they don't like the way it works, the way the money comes into the companies, why couldn't it go into like a revolving account? As long as we had a very, I don't even know what kind of deal it would be. It would have to be a very distinctive agreement that the money that the ambulance companies make goes back in to fund the exact things that it's being used for right now.
I think that's the only thing they're concerned with right now, Nate, or else the other shoe would have dropped a long time ago. I think that the only thing they're really concerned about is that the money is channeled through the proper channels, the legal channels, so that you're not taking money for a certain purpose, so that is given for a certain purpose, and transferring it over here and spending it for something else. I think that's all they're concerned with. And I think that working with the town, the accountants will let you know, they're going to let you know at some point, how that money has to get channeled through. And I think that's only what it's about. It's only about keeping those channels of money legal.
So if we were more clairvoyant on this ambulance and how the money worked and where it was going, is that a start to try to figure this ambulance thing out?
Yeah, I don't think that's an option. I think it's a good start.
We're not making a lot of money on the ambulance anymore.
No, and we really don't either. I mean, we make some money, some good money.
Our whole intent is, even with the medics, our problem with the medics was like, if we don't go to other calls around here, if they call us, that we can't become state medics. When they call us, we have to go. And now we pay for 2 hours extra every day so that we cover in the afternoon for the 2 medics the fire department does. And our whole reasoning behind the whole ambulance system was to have medics or have ambulance people during the day while the school buses are moving around, from the morning till late afternoon with the late bus. That was our whole sense with it now. That's what we plan on. And after school projects, they have down there football and stuff like that. That's why we always have people. But with paying for, now that we have to pay for weekend coverage and then pay for coverage at night, we've really come to a point where there isn't a lot of money into it anymore.
But I think if we just show that the money that the ambulance makes just funds the program and keeps it moving
Well,
like that.
I think you could try that, but the problem with it is like, when we go to ambulance calls now, a lot of people, because of Obamacare and everything else, are refusing to go.
Yeah.
And our whole system is just going this way. The people that, we're taking people that have like Medicare or some sort of mass health, but other people, because of the deductibles, are refusing to go. So the whole system is starting to go south on us really fast. I mean, we used to be over 800 calls, and we don't do 300. When we did Georgetown, and when we go to calls now, there's a tremendous amount of them. You guys know that you go there, they don't want to go. They refuse to go, especially car accidents. They can have blood come off of them. So I think you have to, we're putting more money into coverage than we're making. Or we're right about, we're hovering right there. We ain't making much.
So if that was to be put in a revolving account, then why shouldn't the town pay for the coverage?
They should.
But if you put it in a revolving account, you basically just municipalized your ambulance service.
Well, that's the one thing, we don't wanna municipalize unless we absolutely have to.
But wasn't the point is the 2 firefighters that we take, they wanted to be compensated for those 2 firefighters a lot of times.
Yes.
And every ambulance company that we've dealt with, that was gonna take over the town or work with the town, said that the fire department absolutely had to go to every call with them. So we just figured they were gonna be there anyways, and that was the idea of the
That's a
money.
good point. That's a good point.
That was the only we're gonna be there, the guys are gonna be there, so they might as well take them and make some money on it.
Still costing the town the same amount of money, whether we get a private ambulance service in here.
That's right,
Because
because
we still got a rolling engine on that.
they'd have to be there anyways.
So how do we do this?
I don't know, but I'm just saying that in the past, we both made a lot of money, but
Right.
the whole system is coming down on top of us because of insurance costs and deductibles.
My fear is, is that if we lose the ambulance service, you just lost, I mean, not that you're not gonna be running the calls, you're still gonna be back in, same amount of calls, but, it changes things.
A lot of insurance companies, car insurance companies, are writing it out of their policy now. Ambulance coverage. And so when you go on an ambulance call, you could always, we tell them, your insurance will pay, but a lot of them are writing it out of their policy, their insurance policy. So it's really getting tighter and tighter.
I think it's thinking about I'd rather think about it as the community. Having nothing against the private ambulance services, but they're another town. This way we have an ambulance sitting right in your community down the street from you. I think it's a great benefit.
I think that people appreciate it.
Yep.
The big issue, we have 4 of them.
And I don't think we need to change,
I can get rid of it.
No, I hate that, I did break my
Just-
house.
I don't think we need to
It's
change
a
mutual
great
aid.
service, but it's just another town.
Just look at what's happening to Groveland,
Yeah, I don't think we can change the
different
mutual
towns
aid
around us
aspect.
now.
Yeah, I hate to.
I can
No,
tell you-
just get rid of the ambulance altogether.
I can tell you all firsthand, and you know it, if we didn't have our
Great thing to have in
ambulances,
your town,
we would have lost people.
So,
Because we have these ambulances here, we've been able to save lives.
now,
Without that, those people would not have made it. If we had to wait for Atlantic or Action, it would.
that's an absolute total benefit to the way this works, and that's what we need to tell them, how important it is to keep what we have. Not only for the money that it brings, but for the, for the availability, these guys are here for their townspeople. It's an unbelievable service that it provides. And what they are concerned about, we all know.
Reality.
How are we gonna make it look on paper?
Yeah, it's
So I had a good idea, do we cut a check back to them? To compensate the,
I'm not sure what they're
time?
looking for.
I don't think that's the,
It's not what they want.
in theory, it's the right thing, but that's not what they're looking for.
What do they, what do you think?
I'm not a finance guy, I don't know what, again,
I gotta tell
I can tell you that what
they.
they want is the legal channels for that money. They don't care about the amounts, that's not what they're concerned about.
So I think, based on what I understand with it, I think legal channels to them, and this is just my interpretation of it, would be, they have a hard time with employing employees, town employees, that make money for theoretically a private ambulance, even though it's a service to the town that goes back into the company that pays for the thing. So I was thinking if they saw how that money works and what it paid for, maybe just being clairvoyant at first as to how that money is utilized across the board, they may be able to wrap their head around it to say, yeah, we can use town employees to do this because the money that they're making is going right back into our service, and that's money that we don't have to come up with every year to pay those fire companies to function. That would be the easiest way, is just opening it up and making it look that way.
I don't think it's what, do you agree? I don't think it's what they want. That was my impression anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think it's what they want, but can we feed them that?
Well, who can sit down here in our next meeting and tell us exactly what they
Well,
want?
I don't know that any of us, I'm certainly, I'll put myself in this boat, I am not an accountant, not even close to it, so I don't have a clue how to counsel you on this. You really, I think you need to listen to the accountants, you need to let the accountants tell you how you need to channel this money, and then you have to determine as a company whether that works for you. If for some reason it doesn't work for you, then we have to go back to them and discuss them. Is there a different way to do this, or is this not viable anymore?
It certainly is a company issue. We have to.
Absolutely.
As part of the company.
Yeah.
It is big time. So how do we go, maybe just try to find some information out to present to the company so they know more?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't, because I didn't know myself, you know, I used to want to refer to the company to say, this is what they want, and I don't know what they want.
Well, we started the ambulance years ago in Byfield because there wasn't one anywhere.
Yeah.
Newburyport had the only ambulance, it was a old Chrysler ambulance, and my mother used to take most people to the hospital in a Rambler Maverick, a Rambler Classic station wagon. And they bought a packet ambulance.
That's awesome.
You couldn't get to the hospital.
Yeah.
And that's what we started, and it kind of kept going that way. Georgetown, we went to Georgetown because Lions used to take them, and before that, the Roberts Funeral Home took them. When they first started, nobody didn't have an ambulance.
Imagine that.
So, I guess let me ask,
All you dealing just to throw them in the back of that international carry-all they had. They just went to the hospital. But then it came up, the first one in the area was Carlton Ambulance started.
Remember that.
And that was down to report, but we didn't have any, we progressed to this, you know. And remember, we used to have quite the, everybody used to, some staff things, they used to have these, what was I trying to say, these, we used to get $50,000 a year in there for a stipend. We got rid of all the stipends, nobody has them anymore. Remember they used to have those? We got rid of, we got rid of the last one about 3 years ago, remember?
Yeah, I just don't know what to go back with company's choice.
We don't really know ourselves exactly what
Maybe
they.
they want a revolving account, or they don't, I don't know.
I mean, I would say that we need it in black and white from whoever it's
I
coming
guess we're
from.
gonna have to listen to what they have to say. I'm hesitant to ask for black and white because I'd like to actually be able to present gray to them and maybe get them to
Like we need,
accept
black
that.
and white, that's what we need, an idea of anyway.
Yeah, we need an idea.
A direction.
Yep,
You know,
okay.
they wanna put
Be
it-
careful, accountants don't usually see in shades of gray.
No,
Not very well.
No.
I don't think I do.
Well, like I said today,
I mean, would we ever be willing to become a municipal to keep it?
It's up to the company, I don't know.
You know,
I wouldn't guess the company.
I mean, yeah, I can't speak for the company.
No, I don't know.
I mean, it'd be a shame to see that service go.
Yeah, we can't.
but you see what happened today, that we had a call today that we had to go to, they called us out as medics,
Yeah.
and we didn't have anybody. And that's why, remember we said we had medics, we were going down Newbury, but if they weren't around, you guys weren't around today,
We don't-
nobody would've went to
we
that
don't-
call.
See, that, I think that's a prime example of the fact that why we need a redundant system. You know, why it's a Newbury Fire Department, you know, where, so, okay, you guys are out of town, those guys know it, they
Right.
come on the box.
Yeah.
We cover each other's ass.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So you can keep doing what you're gonna do, and we get the same thing if these guys are, you know, we're lean and you guys gotta come over. And then if all of a sudden something happens in this town and you don't backfill, then you call Georgetown.
Yeah.
That's what mutual aid's for.
Yeah.
You know, and then we document. You know, every time that we go lean and we can't get people in, that's why we show the town, hey, this is why we need more staffing.
Yeah.
Instead of always trying to cover it and make it look like we're pulling it off, when we can't pull it off, you know, we're just gonna be careful as with the way the ambulance works, is to, you know, if we wanna say, well, then you can't have the ambulance anymore. So somehow we gotta show them that, well, how much of a benefit the ambulance really is to us, you know, to these fire departments. And I don't know, these are, you know, these two things, I don't wanna beat a dead horse, but, you know, the lease agreement and the ambulance, those are two mega things they dropped on us. You know, mega things.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, we'll prove.
Yep.
Figure it out.
Alright.
Well, you could run it, like you said, you could run like Topsfield and just have
Class five, yeah.
just a class 5.
Do that too.
What's it, so,
Yeah,
That's what-
it's all.
Topsfield is.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but that sucks. We wanna keep these ambulances.
That's good, that's what I
We're
do.
gonna keep them things
I wanna
running.
keep, I think, to the point, even if, you know.
You know, there's nothing worse than, you know, as an officer standpoint, especially late night being on a call.
Waiting.
When you see them red lights come from that ambulance, man, you get hot in your throat sometimes.
Salisbury waits, you know.
You know, it's a real lousy feeling out there when you're by yourself. So, I mean, I think we should fight hard for that, those
Fight hard.
4 ambulances.
We need to keep these ambulances, I mean, we need to see how other companies feel, that's, after you get to the lease agreement, and we'll work on the ambulance, but see how they really feel, that if worse came to worse, we would be willing to, you know, be clear enough, you know, this money went back into the fire, if the money that's made by these ambulances went back into the town, and essentially became municipal ambulances, would people have a problem with that to keep the ambulance service? That's,
Two private companies, that's the problem, we can't speak for them.
right, we can't, yeah, that's the.
What about that fire district that she talked about?
that would change everything, because essentially it would be two separate fire
Two
departments
separate
again,
towns, pretty much.
which,
We don't-
you know, they asked us to do that, and we said no, but now come to think of it, you know, we should have asked the
I'm
freaking
not sure.
taxpayers.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
think we
it's
didn't
like
ask
any
them.
water, just like a taxing,
Yeah, it's
I don't
a tax
think we, I
thing.
don't think we investigated.
figure out how much it costs you to operate and
It would have been a good idea.
Should've. Yeah, nothing against anybody, I just think,
Yeah.
maybe, yeah, we certainly can investigate that.
Yeah, and that could be a direction that we still go to. I mean, not that it's nice to be able to cover, but really both sides are really autonomous. We don't wanna talk that way right now, but I mean, if worse comes, you know, who knows? You know, like I said, these are times of big decisions, you know, so.
Well, you gotta send somebody, whether you have an ambulance or not, you're gonna send a couple of people or a truck on a
that's-
call, right?
Yeah,
You have to.
yep,
That's how you do it now, so
Yep.
Day and night, or
Yeah.
you're gonna send somebody anyways.
yep.
Yeah.
So you got guys there, and now you provide the service, and you're
Well,
doing it.
it's a call, just like if you have a private ambulance company come in, they request that you have a
Yeah,
pump there or somebody there to help them, and I think it helps them, so.
so you,
whatever the town does.
You know, anyway.
Absolutely.
alright. I'll go and talk to Tracy, and I will go and talk to the accountant on the ambulance thing. I'll try to get a little bit of clarification as to where they're at, without really tipping my mitt much, so that I can, you know, give some information to you, and I'll give some information to Pat, so the companies can start wrapping their head around it. At least that they have like a little better definition as to how to go about, you know. And then I think honestly, you know, after the end of the lease agreement meeting, we'll say, well, we have another, you know, issue to talk about too, but we'll let this one be done first. And I'll see, and I'll actually touch base and say, all right, we're working on the lease, you know. Do we have enough time in between, you know, these companies have enough time to get the lease figured out, and then we'll figure the ambulance thing out, just so that everybody knows that they have a time frame. You know, I mean, I know this is where it's a funny, is this our place, or do we talk to the company presidents and have them talk to, you know, Tracy and do that?
It's really a more company issue.
It is, you know, so maybe we have the company president, I mean, I will go in and get some clarification and present it back to the company president.
At that point, we'll take it.
Okay, then you guys can take it from there. Any other, old business? Sean made out okay with the burner. What else?
The what?
Oh,
Yeah.
the wood stove.
Oh, yeah, the furnace is all cleared up,
Uh,
everyone's getting along.
Your sounds good,
What they
everyone's
did?
happy.
they had 4 pieces of pipe on, they took 2 off, Bill had them take 2 off because they were too close to the line. DEP made them put 1 back on. And everybody's happy, so, at least for the moment.
All happy down in the neighborhood.
Okay, how about new business?
Deputy and I spoke this afternoon, briefly about coverage Thursday night and possibly Friday. Whether we get engine 9 back or not, but, you know, we discussed about getting a crew over here with an ambulance crew and an engine crew. If we've got 9, we'll bring it. If not, we'll, you know, they can provide an engine and a chauffeur for us.
So we'll get an engine down here with,
If 9's back in service, engine and an ambulance over here, you know, for the time of the service.
okay,
What time,
for Thursday night
what time do you know you're going on Thursday?
and Friday day.
It's Thursday from 4 to 8.
Right, are you gonna be there the whole time?
We're gonna try to honor God, so I hope we will be.
Thursday's 48,
4 to 8.
and Friday's,
Friday at 10.
that's the Greek Orthodox Church.
But if you're on the night, I can always show the car.
So, Morrisville on Thursday night.
Tonight, Thursday.
He originally
What age?
Right.
No, he says a lot of times that the church is there and he works for years.
Okay,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, the courthouse. A lot of times,
Church is there, right?
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, courthouse church.
That's where he wants the donations to go. Okay, so
He's been
Keith's
buried in
other work?
Manchester, actually.
It was after hours when I spoke with the deputy, so I'll talk to Keith tomorrow, see if we can get something set up, if it's all right with you.
Absolutely.
Engine 9's going to Seabrook Truck tomorrow. And for the ones that didn't know, we had a freezing issue in our air system. Didn't affect the maxis, but it was causing the front of the secondary system to bleed down. I'm not really sure what it is. we had conversations with a couple of different fire truck mechanics over the weekend, they had some suggestions, but we did a few things. It seems to be okay, but we haven't put it on sub-zero temperatures, so it's still gonna stay out of service. It's gonna go over, they're gonna look at it tomorrow, the truck's due for PM, and they're gonna look at the air dryer also, so hopefully they'll be able to turn that around tomorrow, if not back first thing Thursday morning.
Okay. So, our ladder truck's a Quint. So, on days that it responds as a ladder, it's a ladder. And on days that it responds as a Quint, it'll be a Quint. Do you think that, so we don't have any confusion with that? Yours, essentially your truck's a Quint too, right?
Yeah.
But it's always a ladder truck, right? But not always, right?
Yeah,
Goes on, water.
So,
Take runners, included,
Yeah, we- we call it a ladder, but that sometimes can cause confusion. So we could designate, you know, I mean, right now we're running it as a Quint.
Because we don't have an engine, it's in
So-
the cold weather.
Can we call it a Quint when we're running it as a designated engine?
I say we just keep it as it is, keep calling it a ladder, and it'd be the discretion of the gentleman in the front seat on how it's applied,
Okay,
or the IC.
all right. So that's the thing with these, you know, like I said before, but in those emails, I was confused as to how it was running, that, you know, we run it as a pump, we run it as a,
So, are we 0-0 right now?
It's supposed to be, Saturday morning, or this was a Sunday morning. Saturday morning, I stood there while Robert called over to Newbury Dispatch and put us at 0-0.
so that's the reason why we didn't get called.
Yes.
You get called.
They did call
Right,
us,
you
but
got
they said,
0-0.
Okay, but
So that's proper.
You have to be careful with your truck, because a Quint has hose on it, and you can lay a line,
Right.
and yours doesn't.
It does.
Yeah, it does.
does,
Okay, how much you got on it?
At least 400 feet.
no, it's more.
Is it
more than that?
Is it 700 feet or 4 inch?
I think it's.
Okay, originally it didn't, that's why I kept listening to him, and that's the problem with a
Okay,
Quint over that, because you can go lay a line, the other time you can't.
because right now it's operated as a pump, it's gotta be operated as a pump.
800 feet or more, you gotta go to the, yeah, if not more.
And most of them on that 1901 issue, I think, have 1,000 feet of hose on it. And that's only because how they
Your truck
pump
is.
water. Good, great.
All right, on to new business, you know, I had approached Doug, I spoke with Justin, I talked to Wally. You know, my activity for the last few years, you know, it's been nil. You know, my son's 3, and, you know, I've worked about probably 4 or 5 different jobs, like everyone else has. I have a lot of passion for the fire department, like I told Doug. I believe that I have a certain skill set right now that's important for the fire department's growth. And I know that I'm shitting in my pants, you know, theoretically. I need the support of everybody that stands on this board. This is not something, you know, you don't do any of this stuff alone. You know, you know, I'm here, I need to hear input from everybody. I want everybody's input on how things go. I want to be very open to communication as to how we want to do this stuff, working forward. You know, there's no such thing as, you know, this is my show, this is us together as a team. You know, I will do my very, very best to, you know, so that these 2 fire departments thrive as the Newbury Fire Department. You know, while these companies get to maintain their integrity of being companies to the best of their ability, while we go through these tough times, you know, through the town. I know some of you right now may have, you know, certain, you know, questions as to how this whole thing transpired, but, and I do even too, so, but, you know, I don't wanna lose anybody on my tenure. I need a lot of, I will seek a lot of backup. I know that there are a lot of people that surround me right now with more experience than I have, and I will call on that experience. It'll be needed for the success of myself and these fire departments. And I hope that you can work with me and do that with me, because I will with you. And so I just wanted to say that, you know, on the new business part, you know, I hope that, you know, we can do well. You know, I hope that I can do well. It's scary. So, other business, any other new business?
I just don't know what the call we were on today,
Yeah.
Kevin Demo,
Oh, yeah.
just because, the other boss not even knows what's going on. We were down there we were on another call, so ladder 3 came up, which was great, did a great job. Keith got up to command of the whole thing, and did a great job. But they had a pipe burst behind the wall on a toilet, and apparently just didn't know it for a long time. It was on the 3rd floor, went down the 2nd floor, down the 1st floor, one whole side of the dormitory. Honestly, yeah, it was awful.
There's so many water problems.
Yeah, so they finally cut a hole in the wall and stopped it. It was on all the lights, it was on the lights, it was on all the smoke alarms, all that, so they wanted, of course, typical, to reoccupy it, you know, as soon as they could, like reoccupying one half of the dry half. And they wanted to put a fire watch there because the fire alarms weren't up and all that stuff, and I said, no. I said, I don't want a fire watch, would have been a security guard.
He's in the firefighter.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't even want our firefighters down there, that responsibility, we keep going to them. So I said, nope, not tonight, until the fire alarm system's up and running, it's clear through the electrical inspector and the building inspector. I don't wanna say I'll do anything, you know. So, Robert came out and looked at it, I called Sam, and Sam's comfortable with, they can reoccupy one half, won't be tonight, they're in the French Student Center tonight, because there's too much water damage, you know, the serve pros gonna be there all night long cleaning it up, so they can't sleep. There are a couple of people in the apartments that are gonna stay there, but the fire alarm system is now up and running again. Robert's got it up and running again, so that's fine. I told them they can reoccupy the one half, because it'll be a good week before they get it cleaned up. That one half, as long as the fire alarm system is up and running for the whole building, and the electrical inspector signs off on it. So that's what we stand. I believe tomorrow or next week they'll be reoccupying. Just that one that I have. You gotta have it really wet.
They touch you down there, they'll let them kids right back in
Yeah,
there.
you gotta be careful.
You gotta like really put your foot down and deal with it, they don't like to listen.
So that's what I've done, if you have any.
You've handled Governor Dahmer for years. You guys have been.
If you want me to do, I'll certainly come.
No.
Like I said, Jason's called me.
Just keep me abreast.
Well, I was pulling in, Jason's calling me, so that you get an up and running system, and tomorrow they'll probably occupying that one dry half.
Academy's come a long way.
They have, they're
Bill and Sam, they've built over the past 3, 4, 5 years. Big difference.
The hairline crack.
It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be copper in the building for plumbing?
This was part of the drainage, right? Oh, it's the
I
PEX.
brush it.
It's
I
the
brush it?
PEX.
And then
It's the PEX line, Nate.
there's 2 types of fire alarm system in there, I have a domestic one in there. And back when they did that, they could do that, and that domestic one is DVC.
Well, there's some line behind the toilet, there's no wall.
Yeah, but it's all.
This is fire,
No, it's just.
this is fine.
Yeah, it's that PEX, that PEX.
Because when I turn the water,
It
they
doesn't
want to
have to
spray,
be,
you know.
No.
It's compression for
Maybe not
water.
at the time. I remember they used a lot of plastic around, it got all brittle out, I mean, it was,
It's a nightmare.
Wasn't
Now the
good
new
idea,
stuff's
but-
supposedly really good.
The poly is the best. I mean, underground, I know in the golf course thing, I love the poly because it's got welders. You can just weld it with those little welders and it's flexible and.
We'll just fire watch on the small things, but something like that, I don't want the town or the fire department responsible.
It's quite a bit.
I'll just there, you know, you never know what's gonna happen, I just don't want that. So
You
I
get
just
an error on
don't
the
worry
side
about
of
that.
the ultimate caution there.
Yeah, they were fine with it, Jason was fine, he worked with us, he was fine.
Yeah, that's your baby over there.
Especially would you want some of my guys hanging around a girl's dog? If it was a girl's dog?
That's your high school.
Oh, man, that's trouble.
That's the dog.
We'll send Bishop over.
They really, oh boy. They care of the ladder, they did a great job, and they,
See, and I just think, you know, I think that's, we gotta be able to, you know, cover.
Yep.
And that, you know, and that's why I think that fire alarm system's a great idea, because, you know, we're weak or we're short, you know, boom. Moving forward, I mean, the highway, you guys are out on the highway, you know, I mean, I would love to see, you know, our guys coming, you know, say it's a medical aid on the highway and you know you're running with the ambulance, and you know, you don't know what's happening with the pump right off, you know, boom, get us coming, you know, just get a big truck out there in front of you. You know, I mean, you're gonna have a trooper out there, but, you know, the schools, I know we talked about that, I mean, you know, and we know, like Bill said, and it's always been a good way, we don't wanna lose, you know, guys over this side of town, but my firm belief is we are one town. We should be running, you know, these schools, the highway, you know, even anything on Route 1, car accidents, you know, we should be running these things together. And if we go short, we can't backfill with our own guys, we do what other towns do and you call it mutually. And then we document.
You say, hey, you know, this is where we're at with call guys. We're running a call fire department with 2 full-time guys, we're covering each other, and we're having these lapses in coverage. And that's where the town's gonna have to look and say, hey, you know, do we need to add a guy, or do we need to add, you know, maybe we end up, you know, adding staff as we move forward, you know, and growing the fire departments where, you know, so, and that, cause that's my, you know, that's my feeling, is we need to grow the fire departments. If we get weak, you know, as long as we document it and we're doing the right thing, you know, it's the town's responsibility to help us, you know. I mean, they've helped the police department tremendously, and I think, you know, if we can present to them, you know, our needs, hopefully, you know, so.
I do have Adeline Root's dry sprinkler system is shut off. They have some problems with the power and the pump and all that, so they have to freeze the whole building up. It's empty, no one's staying there, so they shut it off. The fire alarms are also operational.
I gotta go on there sometime.
When it gets better, they'll turn it back on.
Back in there.
We should have a drill on that.
Yeah, Joe's
I gotta go on the
Ooh.
hunt sometimes.
That would be like,
Curtains for doors.
Oh,
all wood building.
I don't even know how you would have a ropes and things if you had the personnel to go search that building. I mean, it's, you've seen them in there?
Mm-mm.
That and the
Sure, what would you call these?
storage container, storage place.
Oh, yeah.
In the expo.
10 feet of snow and all
You
the
crap about it. Turn around, no, you know you are.
Yeah, you guys can call me and I can go on some field trips. Anything else, Doug?
Did we have any old business on the storage facility, or when was it all put to bed? I mean,
I submitted the changes we brought up at the Farmers meeting.
Comments were submitted.
Yep. And everything sense.
And I think he was fine with all of them. The only thing he questioned, I think he thought we wanted the door in the front of the building instead of the
Back
side.
on
Once
the
they
side.
clarified that, he goes, I got no problem with that, so.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Just want another way out.
Yeah.
Another way in.
Yeah, well, a nice way to pull a hose in too.
Yeah.
It was around the corner if you didn't. It was
Yeah.
kind of a difficult
Well,
pull.
those big windows.
I think we'll take care of that.
That's nice.
That's that thing the other day, we had the computer with a Hal and pop a door and just butt hinges with a Hal. and-
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
I've seen that actually, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty
Was he putting the point in, bang with it?
cool. Yeah, snap them right
Pull
off.
it right
Yeah.
out, yeah,
You got a deadbolt or something,
Mhm.
yeah.
the other way. Any other business?
Does the board want to consider using some of their expense money for that e-dispatch system? Like a secondary paging system?
Because that's pretty quick.
But it's good.
It is, cause you get I mean, Salisbury's got it, and it's, you know, within 30 seconds.
We've had it for a while.
You guys have it too?
Yeah.
How much is it?
$80 a month, I think.
Well, it's up
somewhere
to
in that
50
area.
people, it's at 80, 79 a month, yeah. Let's go up to the next, no, those 25 people, we go to 50, it's 120, 129, something
The
like
thought
that.
was to add on to theirs to cover us, so that way we can get them big advantage.
This is my theory. Think about when you're sitting on your lawnmower.
I don't
You can
know.
feel your phone vibrate.
I think
Everybody's got a phone on them now these days.
A lot of people don't even carry
I think there's gonna be.
You know, it's yeah, mowing the lawn like this.
Extreme.
I've had my cage, I put on my shirt before.
That's the mindset you get though.
I got a lot of times.
Doug, are you familiar with this type of system?
No, I can imagine what, so you get notified right to your cell phone. I kind of figured out what you were talking about, but no, I'm not familiar with it.
What it is
It's all
it's a
like
system,
Google,
and
yeah.
it monitors the thing, and every page goes out. And you get the call dispatch,
And I can push down here, streaming,
and then it opens it right up.
opens it up, you can just sit there and keep listening. Like a band.
I've had a lot of trouble with the service though, more Verizon being the problem than
And then you can
the
click a
alert.
button
So
and listen
using it
to
as a
audio.
paging system,
So you
it
can
has some reliability backup. It's a backup, but I'm afraid people rely on it as a primary. and-
Okay, not primary,
Yeah,
so
so
I'm
we
hearing
just
now
need to
that
be
it's
careful.
not
It's a
really
system.
suitable for
Very
primary,
about
but
that.
good for second, okay.
It's a
So
good-
there are oftentimes when a page
Once
is
every
bad,
other
go
month
dead,
or
you don't
something.
know it, or it's a wrong connection, and, I mean, it's nice to have.
Two systems.
So it's a good secondary system or redundant system.
Right.
$180 for a month.
I make a motion that we, you get.
You make that, Board of Fire Engineers expensive both
Yeah,
sides.
absolutely.
I'm trying to find the price for it, it's like, you know,
180 a month for 100 members.
this guy, I can't give the, I can't pay.
So
Give her
that
a
way the
quote.
Board of
wanna
Fire
go up-
Engineers would pick up their expenses.
$180 a month.
Over 100 members is $233. Up to 100 members is $179.
Yeah, imagine we do it for
Yeah, 100 members, that'd be.
No.
We don't have
We're
over
on the
100.
25 plan now, so.
I think I think we have 32.
Wasn't it like 130 for the next plan up?
It's like
40 that we
129.
voted down,
Yep.
and we agreed on the 80.
Yeah.
Up to 50 is 130.
Yeah,
Up
that's,
to
that's,
100 is 179.
up to 50 was 130, that's what it was.
Stuff
They're
works.
pretty,
Yep.
yeah, they're pretty.
And then actually, this system, I.
Either way, it's-
Do you wanna get another, I mean, I have it all in the office, it's all in my office, so do you wanna just go with that and add people to it, or do you wanna?
Ours doesn't, but theirs does.
But the only problem is and this is just the way it is,
they break
I'm the administrator of my computer.
It's fine.
If you don't want that, you can have your own system, we can get two if you want, how you wanna do it, you know?
Is there redundancy?
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah,
Do you have a
that's nothing
problem
to
with
worry
that?
about.
I don't know,
No,
I get it all battery backed up, so if I was
yeah, it's
out,
fine.
That's our biggest problem. We don't
If you wanna keep that,
secondary.
that's great.
I don't have to do it, I just don't wanna
Yes,
do it.
So I would like to make a motion that the Board of Fire Engineers expense account pick up the expenses for a secondary notification system, principally e-dispatches.
For both sides.
Yeah, for the town of Newbury Fire Department.
Second. Jan?
Yep.
I just wanted to.
So we have a second, all in favor?
Like,
Alright, motion passes. Doug, you wanna make it happen?
how we already on that.
Awesome.
All you have to do is give me a list of,
Okay.
who wants it, and.
I already, I don't have it, I can copy it off.
I probably do it, we're gonna go like right
I was gonna wait till the meeting ends, but
Bob's gonna be,
Send it to Blue Light
Mr. Bishop's gonna be very happy.
I already have it.
I know, but you'll be happy not to have the other one.
How do you, what do you wanna, get a list together? Should we have?
Well, what we'll need, sorry?
I think Bob
Not here, he has it.
Oh, really? You have the list?
Also,
there?
we have this one.
Oh, you
has.
do?
Our system.
Everybody that's on the system now is gonna wanna be in the, it's the same secondary.
Yeah, you just need to know, do you want Newbury or you want Newbury and Byfield?
That's how
Oh.
Newbury's is.
But you know, if I leave it open so you can go in and set your own account up, which I do leave them all open, you can go in and pick on your phone what you want.
Yeah, I think we should have both.
Both.
The streaming doesn't
You
work though.
put both on.
Both, or one, or the
I
other.
think it's just like our
You have to
paper.
show me how to do that, Doug, because
Sure.
I can't figure out how to do that.
Alright, sure.
Yeah, I think we should have both on there.
You know, you want, I mean, if you have a night.
Right, you wanna show one off.
No, it's good, like,
Yeah,
especially.
you can set hours.
You can set hours
Do
on
not
it, so it'll shut
disturb.
off at night, not ring your phone if you don't
I
want
might
to.
shut
Just
off
like,
at night,
you know,
so I
sleep
might
mode and
change
stuff.
Cool.
During the day when you.
I let mine go all the
Work
time.
at home, you know, you always feel your phone battery.
Yep. With both sides of town, and especially if you can tweak it, that's awesome. For guys that don't wanna hear code. Nice. Any other business? Okay, well, with that, there's no other business, motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Aye.
Alright.